We knew, we talked about it Monday night at length, like any Paddy Tally coach team, you know it was going to give 110%. And look, they threw everything at us. They were absolutely fantastic. It was everything that Sigerson football's about. Courageous, hard work, and no lack of skill, you know what I mean? So look, we're very, very fortunate to be coming out of here with a win, and I really appreciate that.
What was the difference in the end? Was it that second period of extra time, and what was it that got you through?
It's difficult to pinpoint it. I think we came to grips. Obviously they started with a very, very high intensity, and we should have been, but we probably weren't ready for it, and it took us a while to get into the game. But I think as extra time approached, even normal time, we started to get a hang of their tactics, and I think we started to find space more than we did. Obviously they play a very defensive game with 13 behind the ball, and that's very, very, very difficult to break down. I mean, the only way really to play the blanket defence is to play one yourself, and we discussed that, but it's not really in our armamentarium.
Paddy, you went over to DCU at the end there, had a word with those boys. That's always difficult for a losing manager, especially after a game like that.
It was, Jerome, but fair play to them. They're a good team, and they deserved credit for what they did today. That was a serious game of football, and somebody had to lose it, and that's the nature of sport. There's always going to be a loser somewhere, and you have to have that in your back of your mind that you're not always going to win these tight games. But fair play to DCU, and if they keep it together, they'll be very formidable come the weekend.
Do you have any regrets from a St Mary's point of view of anything that happened during the game?
Not really. As regarding our own performance, I couldn't really. We surely made some mistakes, but again, that's the nature of the game. You're going to make mistakes in matches, but no, not really. I think as a team, I couldn't have asked for any more. They really played very well, considering we lost a man, fairly early in the match when we were in control of the game, and really had to play with 14 men for the rest of the match, and nearly won the game with 14 men. But there's two big factors in the game. There was a send-off one, then there was a goal, and both of those had a big bearing on the outcome.
A lot of people would be patting you on the back, but that's not much use to you now. But it was a fantastic performance by your college, and we all know that you're a small college playing against the likes of DCU.
Okay, well, that's they may be small, but they're a good team and they're good players, and that's what St Mary's have always been about, is making the very, very most of what you have. So there's no real glory in being a gallant loser, and we don't buy into that. If we did that, we'd be happy getting beat, which isn't the case. We have to every year push on and make the very most of what we have, and all credit to the players today that did that, but just come up a wee bit short.
And when it came to extra time, were you confident? I know you were appealing to the boys to dig deep.
No, we knew extra time. Look, we were just delighted to get extra time. So at that stage, look, it was a 50-50 ball game again. And as I said to the guys at the beginning of the second period of extra time, the team that wins this is the team that wants it the most. And obviously, I think today we probably did, because we really dug deep in the second period of extra time.
So you're into the last four, you're into the Sigerson last 2 days. That's what it's all about, getting there at this stage. And then when you get there, obviously you want to win it, but you were appealing to the boys as well that they really have to give you everything. You're the priority now. Yeah, look, I mean, we believe that we're very facilitative to our players during the year. We understand, look, they play with multiple teams and the managers want them, and that's totally acceptable. And we believe we haven't asked, at most 1 day a week is what we ask. So look, we're maybe a week to 10 days away. For some of these guys, it'll be the pinnacles of their career, and I've really iterated that to them. You know what I mean? This is a golden chance, and we have super teams, and you think the next year you're going to turn around, you're going to show up in the semi-final. It ain't that simple. So we have that opportunity, and hopefully now we'll work very hard in the next 7 to 10 days. And just finally, Sigerson, do you think DCU can win it? Obviously, Sligo are back in there, UCC are there.
Listen, to be honest with you, I thought if we get over DCU today, we would give it a fair rattle come the weekend, and I was expecting now DCU would do the same. They're a good team. They've come to Belfast 2 weeks running. They've won 2 matches in the bounce. They're going to gain a lot of confidence from this last 2 weeks, and I would say now they'll be very formidable come the weekend.